You've joined us on Starting Up. Now, how many of you knew that Bluetooth actually got its name from a Dutch king? Well, Sudhir Sial caught up with the technology's inventor, Jaap Hartsen, and chatted with him about the technology's origins, some innovative applications, and what the future holds. You don't want to miss this one.
Jaap Hartsen is a Dutch electrical engineer, researcher and inventor who, along with Sven Martensen, co-invented the Bluetooth technology in the year 1994. He obtained his PhD degree from the world-renowned Delft University of Technology and worked with Ericsson for over a decade developing the Bluetooth specification. Today, he is the Chief Technology Officer of Tonalite, a startup which develops innovative wearable products all using Bluetooth. We caught up with Jaap for this Starting Up exclusive. Well, at Starting Up, it's our endeavor to bring some of the world's best innovators onto the show, and this week we've got Mr. Jaap Hartsen, the inventor of Bluetooth. Jaap, welcome to India and welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Jaap, take us back through the early days. How did the specifications for Bluetooth actually begin? What were you working on?
I worked for 2 years in the United States. I moved over to Sweden, and at that point in time there was a small group working on something with short-range technology, and asked me, okay, can you make it work and make it also good for data and for voice? I started actually at that time with a little bit different focus on home-based communications, cordless telephony. But yeah, slowly I moved in more direction of the short-range technology for these small gadgets around the phone. And well, that was back in 1994 when I started to have a serious look into this technology. And it was all created within a research environment. So it was we had no restrictions or boundary conditions. I was very free in what I could do. So I could my mind was open to every new things.
So it started off as a parallel research project, a personal area network. Right. Not like a lot of Google's innovations actually come. Yeah. And at what point did you realize that, hey, this might be something that could define wireless networking, at least in a personal sense, in the future?
Okay, well, that took a while actually, because from 1994 until 1997 it was all done on the research side, all internally within Ericsson. And it was not only until 1997 when Ericsson decided to move out into the world and reach out for other companies that I started to realize, okay, this can become a little bit bigger than only the mobile phone. Right. But of course I could not imagine how it had grown today with 13,000 companies working on it, and we have, 2 billion devices per year that have Bluetooth in it. That was not envisioned in 1994, I would say.
So you meet a lot of college students. If you were to explain Bluetooth to a college student, what would your explanation of the technology be?
Yeah, I would say that it's a technology that distinguishes itself from the normal technology that we know from cellular telephony or cordless telephony, that there is no base station and a moving part, and a fixed part and a moving part. Everything is moving, so it's very dynamic. So things come into each other's range, have to find each other, make a connection, and then move out of range again. And everybody is on the same level, so that's what we call peer technology. Because we have to use it all over the world, we have to be very robust, because the frequency band we are using is used by all kind of other devices as well. So we are using a technique called frequency hop spectrum, and that means that you hop from frequency to frequency, and once in a while you are interfered, but then hopefully in the next one you're not interfered.
So it's all about hopping frequencies and
right,
like someone dodging a bullet.
Yeah.
Great. So there are a lot of stories about how Bluetooth actually got its name. So we're actually standing with the person, the inventor himself. So why don't you take us through how Bluetooth actually got its name, a name which really caught on?
Yeah, okay. Well, the official story is that there was this Viking king back in 1000. He was ruling Denmark, and he made peace between all the Nordic countries like Norway, Denmark and Sweden. So he brought Christianity and brought peace, and he made people communicate instead of banging on each other's head.
Okay.
So we thought, well, that is a good name to have for this communication technology. However, Bluetooth itself was actually a project named for very long before we came out really with the technology. And once we launched the technology in 1999, we actually wanted to have something different, but really for the branding name. But all the names we could come up with were already claimed by others in the world. But if you Googled for Bluetooth, nothing came up at that moment in time in 1999. So we were just stuck with the name Bluetooth, and that's how it was.
Okay, and the logo as well, which is...
Yeah, the logo is a little bit different story. First we had a logo with some kind of radio propagation waves, which was visualizing it. But after 2 years, another company came to us and said, well, I think you're stepping on my IP because I have the same kind of logo, so you should think of something else. And at that moment, some people worked on a different logo, and what they did actually, they looked at the old rune alphabet, which was at the time of King how Bluetooth commonly used. And they used the H, which is a bar with a cross in it, and they used the B, which is something like a B. And if you put that together, you get the logo, which now represents the Bluetooth logo.
Fantastic. Somewhere around that time, Ericsson partnered with some of the world's largest mobile companies, including Nokia, Motorola, and so on and so forth. And what came out of it was the Bluetooth Special Interest Group.
That's correct.
And take us through how that happened and what was your role in that?
Well, so in 1997 it was already realized that to create an ecosystem with Bluetooth around our phone, we need counterparts, we need a laptop, we need a printer, we need other kind of devices, which for sure we knew that we are not going to make those. So we had to reach out to other companies, and we came with a good story. We went to Nokia, we went to IBM, we went to Toshiba and to Intel, and they caught on to the idea. And they said, well, let's do this together. Let's create a special interest group which not only makes the specification, but also goes out and goes to marketing.
And over the last 12 years, they have launched many specifications. And from Bluetooth being used initially for sending files between two mobile phones, now it's being used for a variety of applications, including sending of contacts, listening to music, your voice, for security, as an advertising mechanism.
Music.
So have the numerous applications of Bluetooth surprised you?
Yes, it has, because when I started in 1994, it was only about data and voice. So data was between the laptop and the phone, and voice. Before, it was only about data and voice. So data was between the laptop and the phone, and voice was between the phone and a headset, on a headset like this. And well, after 2002, I think I was working on other things, not Bluetooth anymore, and after a few years I came back, also with the team of people I'm working now with, and they showed me this kind of headsets, and I could listen to music, and I was very surprised. Well, it was not meant for, but it's very nice, and it works, and it has good quality. So in that sense, I was pleasantly surprised that it had gone that way.
What's the craziest application you've seen Bluetooth used for?
The craziest application? I have seen some applications in the sex industry. Okay. I'm not going to dwell on that.
Okay.
But that I think was a crazy application.
So Bluetooth has evolved, and along with over the last decade, there have been numerous other wireless standards that have come about, right? So there's Wi-Fi, and you spoke about infrared earlier, and Wi-Fi, and now what they're calling WiMAX has come on in a big way. Right. So how do you think Bluetooth is going to compete in terms of applications with Wi-Fi becoming quite ubiquitous?
Well, I wouldn't say that it's competing. We have had this story for a long time. Actually, Wi-Fi and Bluetooth were created around the same time, and actually it was created in the same frequency band, so we always had to compete with each other also on a technological basis.
For frequency as well.
Exactly, but I think Bluetooth is quite different than Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi has always been intended for short-range access to an access point, for one applications getting access to the network, to internet. Where Bluetooth is more versatile. It wants to connect to all your small devices, and therefore power consumption has always been the strength of Bluetooth.
To summarize, you would say that Bluetooth is great for connecting small devices, Wi-Fi is great for connecting to the internet, right? And Bluetooth uses much less power as well.
Right.
You've created one of the world's foremost innovations, which is a part of every mobile phone being produced today. There are a number of product innovators watching the show today. What would be some of the key learnings for you to folks who are in their research labs working on product innovations with a vision and with a blueprint but no product as yet?
Okay, well, always keep an open mind. Never say it cannot be done. So you should not start with a list, okay, this is this, it cannot be done because of this or that. Always look at all the alternatives and then pick the best one. So don't take something for granted, and it's a lot of work. It's not that you invent something by, okay, the light, okay, now I see something. Sometimes that is the case, but in many cases it's a chain of things you have to solve, and then you come to something which is groundbreaking. And even that, I've always worked in the research arena, and well, 99 cases of the 100, it never succeeds. But there can be that one that can become a great hit, and well, that happened with Bluetooth.
Yeah, it's been an honor and a pleasure talking to you today. Thank you very much for joining us on the show.
Thank you.